What is up, Rebel Nation? It is your boy Deuces. I am back once again, guys. I am back today with a video of Darrell Brooks. If anyone doesn't know who Darrell Brooks is a guy who decided to get in a red van and storm down a parade and use the van actually, well, as a deadly weapon, killing 6 people, guys. He goes on to actually defend himself in his trial, and it doesn't go good for him. He actually mocks people. He says that judges are flipping him off. He says all this other stuff, guys, that does not make sense. And he's seeing stuff in his head through his trial that he believes he is his own attorney, which he did actually, well, self-appoint his own self as an attorney. Yes, that really happened. Anyways, guys, first off, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like and subscribe to the channel, it's highly appreciated. Without further ado, guys, let's jump right into the video.
Darrell just had his trial, and I'm filming this for you guys on Wednesday, October 26th, and he was found guilty today. And when I tell y'all, if y'all didn't get to watch it, his trial was a mess of all messes. Darrell decided that he was going to defend himself, and we all know what they say about people that defend themselves. They say a man that defends himself has a fool for a client, basically meaning like you're a fool if you try to defend yourself. But he did. Now, probably an unpopular opinion, but a lot of people didn't think he had any defense at all. I do think that he would have had some defense had he had a good lawyer or a good defense team, but he still would have probably been found guilty because he was guilty, okay? But he did have some sort of defense, and I'm gonna tell you guys about that in a minute. But during the trial, he made a complete spectacle, so disrespectful. It's very obvious that Darrell has major issues with authority, and it's either problems with authority or women, because he went at the judge. And I am just convinced that that judge got in her car every night driving home and cried. She was probably so exhausted, so overwhelmed, probably never been disrespected like that before. And it was rough for her and everybody else in the courtroom. While Darrell was putting on these antics in the courtroom and stuff, the family was sitting in there. And that's the part that really just hurt my heart, was knowing that the victims' families were in there watching all of this stuff go down. And I mean, he argued about wearing a suit.
Are you willing to go back to your cell and put on your suit?
It is my right to do so or to not do so. And at this point, Your Honor, who doesn't know that I'm in custody?
Mr. Brooks,
know that?
I've had many trials with individuals who are in custody, and when I've talked to the jurors after the conclusion of the case, they had no idea. The whole point of allowing for street clothing is not only to shield jurors from the fact that you are in custody, but also you being in a suit and a tie or other street clothing, I think also lends to the dignity of the proceedings. This is a trial. Again, it is your choice. Are you willing to go back to your cell and be dressed in the street clothes that you previously appeared in?
With all due respect, I do not agree with that assessment whatsoever. There's no possible way that anybody will not know that I am in custody. I think that's a well-known fact because it's reported on every day in the media. It's shown every day on the news where I am, what jail I'm housed in.
Guys, let me point something out to you. Look at this guy right here. This guy right here is like almost asleep, guys. Like, if this guy would actually try to harm somebody, this dude right here isn't doing anything. And if you was in jail or in prison, guys, and you actually had the chance to actually put on street clothes, wouldn't you put on street clothes just to feel more human? I mean, I'm just saying. I know I would. And I'm sure this guy wants to too, but he's being too much of a jackass to really know exactly who he is. He's talking about being on the news, being on the media because of what he did. And he goes on to mock everybody in the courts all through his trial. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back into the video.
And that I'm in custody. It's virtually impossible for anybody to not know that I'm in custody.
Now, remember, guys, he's in the position of being his own lawyer, okay? Whether wearing a suit or whether he should wear his, jailhouse oranges. One day he was in there with his shirt off. He yelled. He belittled people. He called his ex-girlfriend as a witness who he was accused of attacking right before driving the SUV into the parade. He tried to make her look like a bad mom. He yelled again at the judges, at the prosecutors. He picked apart the witnesses for both sides. He took boxes and made a fort with them. He took a Bible. He was waving it around. He had the Bible upside down. He objected to just about everything, it seemed like. And when they would sustain his objection, he would say grounds, meaning like, what are the grounds of this? He just argued everything. It was just a lot.
Do you have a claim in this matter?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Have you read the complaint in this matter?
Objection
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Not relevant. Sustained.
Do you know who the plaintiff is in this matter?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
He even accused one of the jury members of flipping him off.
There's the lady in the black that's closest to the screen in that corner chair over there. I recognize her from my initial appearance. She flipped me off coming in to my initial appearance and coming out. I know it's her for a fact. I seen her about like how I'm looking at you right now, so I know for a fact that's her. I don't want that to end up being an issue. Is this some type of way that could be addressed by Your Honor?
Mr. Brooks, you had an opportunity to exercise preemptory strikes and even to question jurors about that. You chose not to. So at this point, any issue you have with that juror is waived.
And then the part that was like funny, but also shocking was when he stared down the judge, you guys. And I'm sorry to laugh. I shouldn't laugh but his face and his jaw was clenching. Look at this.
So
Your Honor, I believe he has 7 prior.
Look, whenever you see someone acting like this and talking like this with their voice shaking, they're close to a panic attack. And I'm sure everybody in that courtroom was close to a panic attack through this case. You have a killer standing in front of you that's killed 6 people and injured, I do believe, 60. Because he ran a van through a parade. And then you have him building a fort in front of him. That way people can't see his face. Holding up cards that says objection. Calling for grounds. What else are we going to see in the courts? You have a killer mocking people in a courtroom. But yet if me or you guys would do this in a courtroom, just in a regular trial of a traffic ticket or something, we'd be taken to jail. Try to build you next time you're in the courtroom, try to build you a fort in front of you of boxes when you're in there for a speeding ticket and see what happens. I think he actually got told to put the Bible down because he was literally waving it around, using it as a weapon. There is some characters out there, guys, that literally has a sick enough mind to run his van through a parade. Anyways, guys, let's continue with the video.
Criminal convictions via OWI 2nd from 1997, and OWI 3rd from 1997, and OWI 4th from 2003, criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
All right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared.
Can you imagine Like, what was he thinking in that moment while he was staring at her? So anyways, with all of that, it was a lot. Darrell Edward Brooks Jr. was 39 years old when he plowed his red SUV into the Waukesha County Christmas Parade on November 21st, 2021. At the time of the parade, Darrell was out on a $1,000 cash bond related to charges filed earlier in November in Milwaukee County. Darrell has an extensive criminal record dating all the way back to 1999. When Darrell was 17 years old in September of 1999, he caught his first charge, and that was a battery charge. He stayed in trouble from there, little petty things, in and out. And then in November of 2006, this is when he became a registered S offender. And that was from him getting a 15-year-old girl pregnant, who was actually the woman that he called to testify in court, who was also the woman that he allegedly beat up right before he plowed his vehicle into this Christmas parade, and he was arrested for that. Now, Darrell argued his point in court and said that she lied about her age, but nevertheless, he was registered as an S offender from there.
So now we have Darrell Brooks as a sex offender, an S offender, whatever you like to say, guys. I like to say it like it is, and I just said it like it was. We keep it 100 on this channel. So we have him as a sex offender. He was in trouble as a young teen all the way through. Then he hit that charge. Then he goes on and he hits a little more speed bumps through his life, hits charges. And then all this builds up just to run through his tank through a parade. I'm actually talking about the van being a tank because basically it is a tank. And then he goes on to mock people all the way through court. And then he stares the judge down. And the judge is actually afraid. This isn't good, guys. Anyways, let's continue.
There. Darrell grew up without his father, but he did have a very loving and supportive mother and a sister that also helped to raise him. It is said that Darrell started being hospitalized at the age of 12 for mental health issues. So he has been dealing with these mental health issues for a long time. He does claim to be a sovereign citizen, and I didn't even know what all a sovereign citizen meant until this trial. And if you guys don't know, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a rundown, but it is people that are here that claim to not be a part of America's government system. They don't follow the rules, And I have seen interviews with multiple different prosecutors and lawyers who say that when they have somebody come in that claims to be a sovereign citizen, they want to lose their minds, and it's horrible. In 2010, he was charged with a strangulation charge, and you guys, it's just been this pattern. It has been this pattern, and he really should have been contained somewhere, if not for his mental health, but for his safety and the safety of others around. He has been a violent offender since he was a teenager. But from what I understand, the reason why Darrell was actually not in jail at the time of this parade is because in this county, they're trying to do this thing where they don't want to keep people incarcerated because you are innocent until proven guilty, and therefore they don't give people large bails where they can't get out. So when he got arrested right before this incident at the parade, his bond was only $1,000. He got out, went and found his baby's mama, whooped her butt. She was running, left from there, and ended up in the parade situation. Now, just to give you guys some more details on the night of the parade incident, it was November 21st of 2021. Dozens of witness videos showed the red SUV plowing through the parade and appeared to show the vehicle hitting members of the Waukesha South High School Black Shirt Band, the Milwaukee Dancing Grannies group, and a children's dance group. An officer even shot at the SUV in an attempt to stop it. Fortunately, no bystanders were injured by the gunfire, and authorities said that they don't believe any shots were fired from the SUV. Now, Darrell would then get out of the SUV and begin to run. He went and knocked on people's doors, saying that he was homeless and that he had all these...
Guys, and can you imagine being these families that's lost 6 people to... you're at a parade. You're having fun. You're sitting there, you may be eating candy, you may be drinking a soda, and your kids around you, you're watching kids play, you're watching the parade go on. You're talking about how good of day it is, and all of a sudden you just see a van start running over people. That's what this was. That's what happened. So he goes on and he catches a strangulation charge. Why was this guy out of jail? And why was he on $1,000 bond in the first place? Why? We put people in prison over marijuana. But this guy's already a sex offender registered, a strangulation charge, and got in trouble all of his life until today. And he's not even in prison. But there's people in the prison system that's in there for marijuana. It's crazy, guys. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
He needed help.
Hey, I called an Uber and I'm supposed to be waiting for it over here, but I don't know when it's coming. Can you call it for me, please? I'm homeless.
And people were turning him away until the cops found him and then they arrested him. Now, when the trial began, his mother was asked, like, what do you think about him defending himself? And she said that she knew it was a terrible idea. She knew that it would be manic and that she was heartbroken for the family. Listen to this.
To help Darrell, I knew that he was not mentally capable of presenting himself as his own attorney. And he always says, you know, Mama, I'm fighting for my life. And I said, I know that, baby. But we have to look at reality for what it is.
You're fighting for your life. You took 6. You ran over 60 people. You hurt 60 people. But you're fighting for your life. Darrell, not a damn person feels sorry for you. Not one. You killed 6 innocent people that was having a great day. These people was probably sitting around their families, guys. It's just about like you were sitting out in your yard. Say you and your family sitting out in your yard and someone just plows over you with a van. That's basically what happened. That is what happened. That's no exaggeration. So, for him to say he fears for his life, I would too. One, you're going into prison. Basically, you killed a child, so that's not good. I think he was 10 years old. He was one of the ones that actually that Darrell Brooks hit. Anyways, guys, let's go on to see what his mom has to say.
You did do what they said you did, even though it wasn't intentional, but you did, you know, and you're going to have to go to prison. And I hate to say this, you're going to see manic, full blown. That's what you're going to see. I have written a letter to the families, well, and again, I give my condolences. My heart goes out to each of them. I ask God to give them strength. I ask God to give them peace and comfort them.
When I heard that, my heart just, really hurt for hers as well as a mother, because, she knows her son is wrong. But she has no control over it at this point. Now, when Darrell did his opening statements, it was so hard to watch, you guys, because there is one thing about Darrell that y'all might get mad at me, but I'm giving y'all my opinion. I know that there's people that think he's putting on a show, and I do think he was trying to get a mistrial during this, but I also think that's who he is. He is all over the place. He's manic. He's crying at some points. He's sorry at some points. He's off the chain at some points. And I think that's why he stayed in trouble, because he was that way. But when he did his opening statements, He lost me and my family that watched this when he started saying that there are people hurting on both sides, meaning his family is hurting just like the victims' families are hurting. And I'm sure that they are hurting, but this isn't the time because this isn't about them. And the jury does not need to be thinking about his family. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe that's the court of law, but I don't know. To me, it was like, Now, a part of the trial that I think that he could have had for a defense, do I think it would have gotten him off the hook? Absolutely not, because he was guilty, and I'm going to tell y'all what I think happened. But he found out that there was a class action lawsuit against Ford for that make and model vehicle that he was driving, and that became his new defense. It was on the vehicle that it malfunctioned and he couldn't stop it, so it was all the vehicle's fault. Now, what all do I mean by this? He found out that there was this malfunction in this class action lawsuit. And so therefore he began to say in court that when he was driving the vehicle, he was honking to tell people to get out of the way because he could not stop the vehicle. And then there was people that testified that the vehicle only went 35 miles an hour at the max. Okay. So therefore his defense was like, I wasn't driving through trying to hit people. I couldn't stop the vehicle. And therefore I was honking. But that doesn't explain why he whooped his girlfriend's butt before, all these different things. And if you see the videos of him driving through, the look on his face is not of panic, get out. It is of anger.
When I observed the driver, he had no expression on his face and he was looking straight ahead as if he was looking straight through me.
And that never changed?
No.
And this leads me to telling y'all what I think happened. I think he was in a manic rage. I think that he got into the fight with his girlfriend and he was pissed afterwards, and he seen the parade and he just drove through and did not care. And I think it didn't hit him what he actually did until later. And I do think that somewhere deep down inside that he feels bad about what happened, but it doesn't matter. Like, he took lives. He took 6 lives and injured 60 something people, and probably traumatized hundreds of people. And this really could have been avoided had he have not gotten out of jail. Had he have been sentenced somewhere long before that. And please, guys, know that I don't think that the prison system is great. We've been here. We've talked about this. There's a lot of changes that could be made. But there's one thing it's good at, is keeping people off the street that can hurt others. If they're in prison, then they're not driving through a Christmas parade in a rage while they're out on bond and just beat up their child's mother. They go back to court on August 31st to decide when sentencing will be. I am pretty sure he's going to get life in prison. They don't do the death penalty in this state, so he's going to get life in prison and he's never going to get out. And boy, oh boy, they're going to have their hands full with him in prison. So what do you guys think? There were times, you guys, that, he did things that were funny to look at, but then when you think about the victims' families sitting in the courtroom, it's not funny. I just can't imagine what the judge thought, the prosecution thought, because even though, he may have been waving his stuff and whatever, and we're like, look at this is crazy. But then you think about an 8-year-old boy's parents sitting in there watching this, or, the 3 children whose mother had passed, or the grandchildren, like, then it's not funny. It's ridiculous, and it's excruciatingly painful for them. So what do y'all think?
Anyways, guys, there you have it. Look, Darrell Brooks is actually serving life in penitentiary. They actually gave him life, for sure. But not only that, we have a family who's sitting there watching Darrell Brooks basically just mocking people in court. And not a damn thing was done about it, guys. He actually went on and built a fort in front of him. That way the jury could not see his face. He used his van to plow through people and kill 6 people and injure 60 some odd people. But the van had a malfunction. So he tried to use that in court, guys. I mean, the van malfunctioning, if he had a different background and stuff like that, then maybe they would have looked at that totally different, guys. But then you have cops going up and actually testifying that it looks on his face was all, but hey, he didn't want to stop the van, guys. It didn't malfunction is basically what they're saying. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get off of here. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Go on and check out the channel. There's a lot more where this comes from, guys. Like and subscribe to the channel. Everything else, your boy Deuces. I'm out, guys. Have a good one.